Is this audio only, or is this also video?
It should be video. I see you guys. Can you see me?
This will be definitely on television.
Oh, okay. I summarize. Make sure I sit up straight.
It's okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into the questions. So this new series, FBI True, how would you guys describe it to someone who hasn't heard about it before?
FBI True is a documentary series that brings viewers inside the FBI in a way that no other series has before. It's FBI agents talking to FBI agents. We like to say elbows on the bar with the grit left in. Really, incredibly personal footage that's never been aired publicly. So you get to see things and experience things from the firsthand point of view of an FBI agent in a way that no one's ever put on television before.
That's awesome. And Craig, I know you have produced multiple other shows in the true crime genre. What got you excited about this particular show?
I worked with Anne on the scripted show FBI that we do for CBS. And in the course of researching that show, met, dozens, probably hundreds of FBI agents. And I started to notice that it was one thing when I would come in and ask them questions that were prepared. But when I listened to them talk to each other, sort of, one agent to another agent or a group of agents, the rhythms of the conversation were completely different. There was honesty and there was this appreciation for the incredibly high stakes and what it took to do their job that no outsider could ever really access. And I was talking about it with Anne, and we decided, gosh, this is something we have to really figure out how to put on screen.
Yeah.
Right. And you've graduated from FBI Academy. You were working in New York City. You were working there when 9/11 happened, I think I read in your bio, if I'm correct. So from your perspective as a former agent, what does FBI True offer audiences that other shows don't?
Well, to Craig's point, the way agents speak to one another is one of the special ingredients to our show. And what our show also lets the viewer see is what the job is like, and how an agent, deals with family issues and the tolls of the job psychologically, emotionally, physically, not just the story itself, but what the job is like and what the toll that it takes on you as a human being is really all about.
That's awesome. And I wanted you guys to talk a little bit about the first episode that's premiering tonight. It's in Dothan, which is not that far from us because we're in Mobile. So just talk a little bit about what viewers can expect tonight.
Absolutely. The episode is called The Boy in the Bunker. And we think it's one of the best sort of untold, or at least not frequently told stories really in the history of the FBI. We'll set the stage for you. Essentially, school bus pulls up at a crossing. An older man gets on, pulls out a gun, and shoots and kills the bus driver in front of all these children. The guy grabs a 5-year-old boy off the bus, pulls him out, and takes him down to an underground bunker that he's been specially preparing for over a year. And the clock starts ticking. And we have this, this episode features the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit. It features the FBI Hostage Rescue Team, and the stakes just absolutely could not be higher.
Yeah, it's a true thriller summer that really rocked the community, and we're so excited to share this special story with you and the community. One thing that I remember from hearing the agents, recounting this story to me was what the community did and how the community came out to support. I mean, these agents, this little boy was their child. They would say, keep our boy safe. And back to my point about the toll and the human side of this story, I remember Molly specifically, the profiler in the case, telling me that on most of these deployments, you're exhausted, you're tired, you're never sleeping, and you lose weight, right? We all have that story. But Molly said in this example, they all sort of gained a little bit of weight because the community was coming forward with this incredible, meatloaf and spaghetti and anything they could do to help these agents. So it's just such a beautiful story of how the community responded to this unbelievable story.
Right. And I feel like I'm really into true crime. So I feel like community is really important in these cases. What I know I was looking at some of the episode titles. I noticed that the Golden State Killer was going to be one of the episodes. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the other episodes that we can expect?
Absolutely. We feel really privileged to be able to tell an incredibly wide range of FBI stories. So this season, you're going to see stories about excuse me, stories about spies and stories about terrorists, bank robberies, serial killers, kidnappings. We have coming up some episodes that we're incredibly proud of. One has to do with the Chelsea bombing in New York, where out of nowhere, this bomb explodes, throws one of these huge trash containers that they have in New York, like 200 yards up a street. So it's a really powerful bomb. And all of a sudden, people realize there are other bombs planted in other places. And there's a terrorist on the loose in New York City. And as it gets closer and closer to rush hour, and you get 5 or 6 million people on the move, they have no idea where this guy is or how they're going to find him. So that's a great one. The Golden State Killer, which you mentioned, which is like an incredible testament to the fact that a serial killer who was sort of terrorizing communities for years and then decades, the FBI never, ever, ever gives up and continues to track these people. So we love the sort of broad spectrum of cases that we're able to cover.
That's awesome. Last question for you guys. Why should everyone tune in tonight?
It's the best show on television.
It really is. I think that the Boy in the Bunker case, right, which obviously takes place in Alabama, is, as Anne said, such an incredible demonstration of what the FBI can do, what it takes out of these agents to do it. And you will see footage that you've never seen before. You'll hear stories that you can barely believe. I mean, when we were sitting in, the room when the FBI agents were talking about this, we all knew how this story resolved, and still everyone was kind of leaning forward and, on the edge of their seats. So it's about as thrilling and incredible a story as I think is out there. And I think people will love it.
Well, thank you.
Sorry. I was just going to say, my in-laws are from Aniana, and so I'm excited.
Really?
Yeah. And so I'm excited for them to see it too.
When I was looking at the episodes and I was going over, because like I said, I'm really into true crime. I have my own true crime segment on our website. And so I was looking at that case and I saw it was from Dothan, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're covering something from like a city that nobody really knows about.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like really, really cool.
Yeah. And it's amazing because, it's one of the great things about the FBI is there are these places in the country, really all around the world. And if a crime happens and it falls under the FBI's jurisdiction, they will show up in force, bringing to bear every resource this bureau has. And it can be, a small town in, a part of the country where maybe there's not a main FBI office. They're there. It can be in the Horn of Africa. We have a story that that takes place, and the FBI will go there too. And what they do to keep Americans safe is extraordinary.
Oh, I 100% agree. I read all these true crime stories and I listen to all these podcasts, and it seems like the FBI, like, they're always there. They're always on top of it. They have like all this technology that police departments like around small cities don't have, so they're able to solve cases, and it's really awesome to see that. And I'm actually really, really excited to watch the series. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for talking with me.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything else that I missed?
No, I think that's great coverage. We're really we feel really privileged to tell these stories, right? The women and the men that we have on have dedicated their lives, and in some instances their partners have given their lives, to protect Americans. And it's, we're lucky to be able to feature this and to give these folks, an opportunity, and a lot of times to tell stories they've never told publicly before. So we love making the show, and we feel really lucky that we get to do it.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you again so much for talking with me. I'm gonna stop